Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. It's Gratitude Tuesday today. So make sure you go out and thank somebody that's impacted your life or done something cool for you. It's always good to say it out loud. We try to celebrate that on Tuesdays, but really Tuesdays are also top of mind Tuesdays with the one and only Yvonne Sandoval with Leverage 365. And today we're going to talk about how to tell your story and why. We're back, Yvonne. How you doing?
I am awesome, thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Me too. I'm glad to be back. A lot of people asking me when you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. So we must be, meaning you must be providing some kind of nuggets to them, which is exactly what we wanted to do. But before we take a deep dive, tell them a little bit about you for anybody who doesn't know who you are.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm Yvonne with Leverage 365. I have this boutique firm. I like to be a boutique.
I like boutique. That's good.
Yeah. I only work with real estate agents. So this is the only thing I focus on is helping you stay top of mind with your database of contacts. Simple as that. Not so simple, but yes, actually somebody can do it for you and you can just get back to your business, which is helping people buy and sell homes.
Isn't that great? Yes. So the website scrolling across the bottom, getleverage365.com. You can find her on social media. We'll run by that again when we leave. But what we're here for is the main event, which is staying top of mind. So Top of Mind Tuesdays is all about giving you all tools where you can stay top of mind in front of your clients and potential clients. So today we're going to talk about how to tell your story and why. And like every time, Yvonne is always professional and she's got a really cool thing that we're going to add to it. Look, she's got a PowerPoint. I had to think about what the heck that was called.
Oh, that's not the right one, Ted.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Well, shoot. Hold on. See if I can bring it up.
Okay, I appreciate it.
No. So you keep talking while I look.
So yeah, so what the things that we're really helping people to do is instead of just letting advertising be what you're used to doing, because advertising is not going to help your business. In this industry, it's all about helping people, humans. It's the one thing that separates you from other industries. You're helping someone with the largest transaction. You're a facilitator of the largest transaction of their lives. That is going to be, in a time of where they may be going through a divorce, or maybe they're going through a loss of a spouse or a loved one, and that they have this home they have to sell. It is a very stressful time, and if you're only going to interact with them as if they're buying an Italian hoagie, and you're advertising your specials and you're advertising your service, it's going to not resonate at a high level. You're selling you. And let's take out the word selling, because what you're doing is trust is going to develop over time. And if you have to allow that time. So how do you do that? You tell your story. And this is where we lead right into, look at me with the
Look
segue.
at that. Oh my God. This is live TV, guys.
How to tell your story and why. And I really want to get this down to the fundamentals. So to tell a great story, the one thing you have to do is evoke a reaction. So everyone has a story. And I've had this with this talk with my clients, I'll have people say, well, I'm not very interesting.
I hate it when they say that, because they all have a story.
Well, Ted, you and I are so interesting, right? I mean,
the most interesting people in the world.
Right. We could talk about ourselves all day long. We've got tons of stories.
I got tons of stories.
In all honesty, everyone does. Everyone doesn't have to be as outgoing and gregarious as me and Ted, but you all have a life that has unfolded, and that story needs to be told. And the next slide is going to really discuss.
Oh, here we go.
How are you going to evoke?
Vanna White is falling down on his job.
You're not going to. The things I hear all the time is, well, how do I do that? What do I create? What kind of things can I sit down and write out? And I said, well, this is the big one. I'm stealing this from one of my mentors because he put it really succinctly. Document, don't create. Okay, that's how you tell a great story. You're not a writer. You're not James Patterson, or give me a good writer, Ted.
Oh, Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, there you go. I was going for more like the beach novels that you read. That you know, what's the yeah, some of the trashy novels for the beach.
Yes, the
But
trashy ones.
you know what I'm saying. But you're not of that echelon, and you're not. That's storytelling in the way to entertain. What we need for people to do is to just tell where they came from, what's going on. Storytelling. The next slide is really those who tell stories rule society. This is Plato. Plato knew that he had it down. He knew some stuff. There you go. So when you tell your story, you're able to develop your world. You can let people see, not create, but let people see into your world,
Yes.
which we are more alike than we are different.
A lot of
So,
people have such a hard time with that. I think people, this goes along with anything that you're doing. If you're not telling your story constantly, that's how I do it. It's
mhm.
always evolving. I don't know how people are supposed to get to know you, and I don't know how they're supposed to do business with you if all you ever talk about is business and you don't share any part of your journey or your story.
Yeah, and people say, well, people have a short attention span, and that may be true. But how many of us can say, and I can say this happened to me over the weekend. How many of us can say that we sit in front of Netflix and we will binge watch for hours on end a particular series or a movie, a franchise such as Iron Man, which I had never seen. So I watched Iron Man 1. I watched Iron Man 2. I didn't know there was, and then I had to watch Thor because that's the order of which the cinematic.
Oh my God, we just talked about this yesterday. Somebody, I guess Netflix allows you to watch it either in chronological order as they released or an actual timeline order of
Mhm.
what it's really in their universe. It's crazy.
So I'm watching it in the universe timeline. I think that's the right way to do it because it's a story. If the story is captivating, people will spend hours on it. So
Yes.
don't tell me that storytelling isn't where it's at. It's capturing your attention every day.
Yes.
So when people are asking about content for digital marketing, digital storytelling is your Instagrams, your Facebook stories, and such. You know, a lot of what's being left out is the following:
Yes.
showing your brand's human side. People connect with people, not brands. And I think, Ted, you've said this till you're blue in the face. And people, they still are doing the I go back to it all the time, where I see the slow-mo video of the woman getting walking down the hall, Louis
Uh,
Vuitton shoes
uh,
on,
yep.
and she looks amazing. But I have no freaking idea what story they're telling with that. It's people connect. I less than what people are trying to connect with the Louis Vuitton brand, and that's what you're selling. You're selling the shoes. You're selling the fact that you can afford the shoes. I don't know. Please stop. That's not storytelling. Share your brand's story. Your brand is you. How many times have we had that slide up? So,
Right.
so going back to telling people, it's coming up in another slide, exactly what I mean by this. But work on your narrative, okay, and your updates. When you're doing your updates on your social media, Yvonne just updated her status. Ted just updated his status. He's telling you what is going on in his story of today,
Yes.
Tuesday's story. So that's the narrative that we want to hear is what's going on Tuesdays, what's going on Ted's day on Tuesday.
Yes. Yes.
Share consecutive posts to tell a broader story. So,
Oh, I love this. Talk about that. I love that.
so that's what basically is that not Facebook stories?
I mean, it
Facebook
basically is.
Yeah, but this content, the things that I'm telling you, came long before such a thing as Facebook stories. This is things that we've known in the industry for years prior to having the technology. So consecutive stories to tell a broader story. You know what? You can use Canva to develop a beautiful Facebook story. So if you go to Canva and you go to create design, you click on Facebook stories, and you can really have a really nice put together story if that's what you want. And then incorporate elements of stories into posts. So an element, just an element of storytelling will help in those posts that you're doing. So
Yeah.
story. And the next slide, I think, is going to really develop more of what I mean by
Let me
story.
find that slide one moment. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, discuss a difficult time in your life and how you overcame it. That's a story. I mean,
What do you say to people who say, but nobody wants to hear about my problems? Nobody wants to hear that's in the past.
yeah, okay. Well, this is the thing. Once again, let's go back to the red bottom shoes. The red bottom shoes tells me where you are today. What I don't know is that you were wearing twice repaired Payless shoes, that you used duct tape at the bottom because you had a hole in the shoe.
Yes.
That I don't know about you. So these are the things that you can tell the progression of a person's journey by letting people in on what came before. So I
Yes.
that's way more interesting
Very
to me.
powerful.
So yeah, talk about a funny moment that changed the way you think and feel about something. That happens to us every single day. It
Yes.
seems like the mundane is what people are tuning into. And I have to share another little story real quick. I just watched a special last night on Netflix, and it was super interesting because it's the theory that we're living in a simulation. If you want to get your mind blown, watch that, because what it tells you, it's really funny because it talks about 6 degrees of separation, and it talks about how our sphere is our world, and their theory is that sphere, which is not a theory, by the way. We know that we have a sphere,
Right.
but even more existential is that sphere is actually being cultivated for you, that you're a player in a simulation. And that's why you have so many people who stay in that world, and you don't really go,
Fascinating.
and when you're thinking of, like, you think of someone and that person just pops up. So think of it this way: you may actually be in a simulation, but that's not going to change what you have to do to tell your narrative, because your
Right.
narrative, even though it might be somebody with the joystick making that narrative happen, you still got to tell it, because that's the Sims game we're in. Okay,
That's
people.
it.
So just enjoy and do what you got to do. Share something you learned during your career that changed the trajectory of your goals. How about that? When it goes super deep. Okay, because all of you came from, especially in real estate, you didn't, graduate from high school and become a real estate agent. Tell me one person that did that.
Right.
Okay, so you all had a journey. Tell the journey, because that's going to cause people to find commonality and familiarity, which equals trust. So let people know where your journey, who led you to real estate, and how, what was, because I've had people tell me incredible stories. And once again, yes, that's what I do for a
Yeah.
living, right? The incredible stories of how they became a facilitator of people buying and selling homes. That's really, really important. And show how pivoting has helped you to succeed. I mean, this is super.
Define pivoting.
I was laid off. Let's say you were laid off because of COVID. You were laid off, and because of the restaurant business just took a dive because of COVID. What made you have to change your career so that you can show where you are today? It's
Right.
it's the turning point in life that we tune into in all of our stories we watch. A movie is a story. A book is a story. A social media post is a story. What you need to do is be more conscious of what your story is and start to communicate that. Find and share a deep moment that defines you. I mean, I think my moment yesterday watching that show gave me a little more, I went a little deeper. I thought a little deeper. I challenge myself all the time to think deeper, even when it's watching television. I mean, I
How do
don't
you
say
think people hesitate sharing a deep moment? Is it they're afraid of rejection? They're afraid of
vulnerability.
there's
Yeah.
fears, right? It's all fear based.
Well, it's being fearful of being vulnerable. Vulnerable is a
Yes.
hard thing to do, but you will find that your best moments in life, everything you can point in your life, you're meeting your husband, meeting your wife, meeting seeing your child when it's first born. It is the most vulnerable. Think about it. Your child's day that it was born, it was placed into your arms. That was that child's most vulnerable time.
Yeah.
They don't know you. They don't know. I mean, think about it. That's why they're crying. I mean, it's scary. But you know what? It was a moment that you shared, and it's a moment that none of us as parents ever forget.
That's true.
So the
I
most
kept
vulnerable.
waiting for the real parents to come get it because I couldn't believe the hospital would leave us inexperienced fools with a baby.
Exactly. They said to me, "You want to bring her in for a feeding?" I said, "No, keep her." Because I
Exactly.
did say that. They looked at me like, Do you need help?" I said, "No, I just need a rest." Okay.
Oh yes, things have
I got
changed in the last 25 years. It's
Yeah, I
insane.
had 18 years and we'll be together. So keep for a couple extra minutes. I want to eat my dinner. And then here you go. Deliver educational and instructional content in your stories. I know a lot of you just want to talk about how to, write, how to complete a FAR bar. I didn't even know what that was until last week. A contract. Those are great things. How to get your home ready for an open house or things like that, how to prepare to apply for a mortgage. All of that's great, but if you deliver it as a story where you tell the journey of the person who's seeking to buy their first home, what is a first time home buyer's journey like?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that? Talk about how you helped, you know, um, John and Sarah buy their first home. What did that look like? And what did it make you feel? What did it make them feel? There's so much going on in that
The feeling
transaction.
word it's interesting because the feeling word I think is what really scares people because we
Yeah,
don't like to show our feelings in general because it's back
absolutely.
to the vulnerability and the authenticity, the transparency. It's a scary place for a lot of people to be. But
Absolutely.
if you're feeling it and you can express that, other people will be drawn to you because they're feeling the same thing and you're being brave enough in their minds to share your journey and
Absolutely.
your story.
So the next slide is just going to tell you that, of course, it's always going to be the same theme. Tell your story. Tell your story. It's one more up.
Oh, one more up.
Back. One more.
Vanna White is rusty this week.
No worries. So to drive conversions, this is now getting back into marketing. To drive a conversion, you need to have a good branding campaign, of course. A good branding campaign needs transparency. So that gets a little deep for a lot of us, but the truth is that when people tell what your business struggle was, they can then tell how you pulled through.
Yes.
So, you if once again, all I see out there is how great I'm doing, how I'm killing it, how but some of you, and then there's a handful of you, I do see you telling your story, like a Brian Rusi, and you see
Yep.
Wendy Stewart. They're super vulnerable people who are. That's why they're so loved, and they should be because they are just the kind of genuine people who are authentic, who are delivering their story no matter how that story has unfolded. They're transparent.
Yes.
That's a really important word. And document this story that people will start caring about you, and in turn about your product or service. When they care about you, they will care about your service, which is what you're a provider of in real estate. And people, of course, want to connect with businesses and brands through advertising, but they need to be more than just cheap tactics. And that's going back to what I was talking about before.
Yeah.
Flashy pictures, being over the top when it comes to the humor. Some of the humor I see, I saw something over the weekend. Yeah, it made my jaw drop with this person, how they approached Father's Day. And I can't repeat it because we know this person. But it was not, in my opinion, classy, and nor was it going to have a sentiment that made people feel warmly. And that's what it
Yes.
comes down to. Sex appeal, it was kind of on the sexist side. Just
Oh, I know the post. It was everywhere.
yeah,
Is this the lawnmower post?
that was one, and then that was a sexist one, and then
Yeah.
there was another one that was about a broken condom.
Yeah, I had a, it was interesting. I had a very visceral reaction to that. And I thought,
You did
God,
too.
you had such an opportunity. There's a difference between humor and really that just, that, to me, that was inappropriate. But
I felt terrible just saying it now.
yes, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
fatherhood is, I noticed something, Ted, that a lot of people don't go out for Father's Day. And I tell you, because I went down to Park Avenue that day, and I was expecting to be long lines and waits to get into restaurants, and I realized that fathers aren't celebrated in the same way that mothers are. But I had never taken that, I had never seen that because I wasn't looking for it. But when
Right.
you're looking for things, you see things, and I was really taken back about how fathers are treated differently than mothers. So that image, that because I'm very visual,
Me
and
too.
when I read something, I see it in my head, and it was just an ugly visual for me.
Agreed.
I'm so sorry, but we go back to telling stories. This is where we're going back to. People choose a simple story over action-driven ads, time and time again, because stories. Let's go back to the word feel, make people relate, make people care, and it goes beyond advertising. So
Well, and I think I love this action driven because I think a lot of times I'm guilty of this. I'm learning. I don't have a call to action a lot of times. I don't have, and so I'm learning to do that. But there's a way to do it where it doesn't feel fake or forced. You just have to learn your way, and there are lots of, which is what I know Yvonne helps all of her clients out with tremendously.
absolutely. I mean, it has to feel good for the person. When I sit down with someone, like I'm doing an interview at 2 o'clock today, it's going to be the story of them. It's going to be all about the person, and the person doesn't even know what their story is sometimes. And I'm sure a lot of the people watching now are saying to themselves the same thing. I don't know what my story is. How do I convey that so that when I'm trying to get somebody, maybe it's a past client, maybe it's a lead, how am I going to get them to feel what I'm all about? And
Yes.
it's because if you don't focus on the word feel and you only write, you're not being you're kind of like in that you're living in you're sleepwalking. You're basically
Yes.
sleepwalking through your business. So when you allow yourself to feel, and I see a lot of people are not ready to feel. When they're not ready,
Uh,
yeah, they're not ready to feel. What's going to happen is your efforts in this business are going to not be at the highest level that they could be.
yes.
So you may be successful, and you're saying, you know what, I do quite well with my advertising and my targeted ads and all that good stuff. Challenge you to say, how better would your business be and your life if you were to allow yourself to feel more than to just be? So it's a choice, and I believe that in this business, you can absolutely make more by letting people know that you're here to connect, and that connection is going to be the guide to the next level. Whether it's for them, it's buying that next home. For
Yes.
you, it's that next relationship. You're,
Absolutely.
you're all about cultivating relationships, people, in the real estate
And
world.
and if you don't know how to do it, that's okay. You just have to be willing to learn. And I think a lot of people have just been conditioned
Yeah.
to be removed and to have walls up and to not show any kind of their feelings because they view it as, or they perceive it as, that weakness. And I just can't, and I know you do the same. I coach people all the time. Go ahead and say you had a rough day. Just don't do it for the next 7 days in a row. Like, you
Well,
need to let people know how you feel. There's a difference between letting people know, expressing yourself, how you're feeling, and then wallowing in it, which is the complete opposite of what we're talking about.
absolutely. I was coaching a client the other day, and he's bringing on two new buyers agents, and we I coach on all different aspects of real estate. It's not just marketing, and he was looking to bring on 2 new buyer's agents. And I said to him, well, who do you have? And he's got 2 people he wants me to interview. And I said, well, I'm not going to interview them until I understand what it is, what do you want from them? What's your expectation? Are you communicating your expectation?
Yes.
And the answer is no. And the reason why is because people don't know how to communicate. They know what they want, and this way, this is exactly falls into what we're talking about. When you're advertising, you're telling people what you want. That's that call to action. Call me now. Work with me now. List your home with me. That's not letting people know, communicating what your expectation is. You're expecting to be there. Oh, I love this. The realtor for life. If I hear that one more time, your realtor for life. That's the expectation, but we can communicate that. When you bring in a professional into your life, you can communicate that you want to be that realtor for life at a much higher level through storytelling.
Yes.
So I see that all the time. I have my clients. I say to them, "Are you married to that?" And they look to me like, "How else would you say that?" There's tons of other ways of saying you want to be the realtor for life through storytelling. So yeah, you can bring a professional on like myself who will take all of these things that maybe you don't want to feel yet, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make you feel things. And sometimes my interviews, people cry, or they just, or a memory comes back that they maybe have pushed down because they felt it didn't apply to business. This is
Yes.
my personal. This has nothing to do with my. Well, gosh knows you're walking around with a sack on your back of emotion and things that you've gone through, traumas and joys, and all of that, which play into your everyday life, which affect your business. So I take all of that and I lay it out and I figure out the things that you've been through that actually show you as a survivor, show you as a conqueror. I bring that to your business so that others can revel in your story.
Yes.
That's what good writing will do. My last client, Iris, and I thank you, Iris. Iris Paz. She just wrote that I sent her all her content, and she said it made her cry. And I said, well, because you're so fascinating. And she says, I never thought of myself that way.
They don't think that. And so I love, and we're wrapping up, so I want them to know how to reach you. I love the fact that you do that with your clients, but we do that on a broader scale all the time. Clients are not clients.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So how do they reach you, Yvonne? What's the best way for them to learn more about what you do, get some more top of mind tips, all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So you can reach me on Facebook, Yvonne Sandoval, or Leverage 365, both Facebook pages, or you can reach me, of course, at 407 915 8000. You can text me or call me. I'm here for you. And yeah, let me go deep. Let me help you if you can, if you're up to it.
All right. That was a dream. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we are back. And we will continue to come back and give you guys top of mind Tuesday tips. Thank you, Yvonne. That was so good. I learned a bunch.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ted.
All right,
Appreciate being
guys.
here.
Appreciate you. See you soon.